Now the post-pandemic recovery has not been very even. Economists are using the famous letter K. What is the government doing to ensure that? One side we can look at the growth part. There is a touch of push towards risk and private sector capex, which is what we eventually want to achieve. What about the end of the economy, which has suffered?
I've always made it a point not to get into arguments about the alphabets that people, attribute. There are some who said it's W growth. There are some who are saying it's K. And there are some who are disputing K. I think just today I've been reading Vivek Debroy also saying, what are we talking about K? So in his own style, he's also questioned that. So no alphabet game for me. I'm more keen on making sure that those who are still, out there struggling to get back to where they were or be better than what they were earlier, it's my business to see how best I can reach them. Now, many of the things which happen in such periods from the government side is not for want of intent. I'll give you a classic case. You will remember that one of the things that we did post the second wave last April, we announced a scheme whereby we could help people working in tourist centers, tourist guides, tour operators and so on. To make that scheme workable, it was such an exercise because after all, in government when you're dealing with public money, you need some basic data on the basis of which you'll tailor-make the scheme, or at least tailor-make it loosely so that each state can adopt for it. It was just not possible to obtain credible basic data of how many, let us say, tourist guides would be there. At the state level, some people are recognized. At the central level, some people are recognized. But just tourist guides, what are the other things? It was a big exercise for a government because unless I have that, I will not be in a position to justifiably to start from somewhere. Similar is to even, okay, that got sorted out. But even today, similarly, I've had an issue. I've had conversations with a lot of people in the art, fine arts, in the sense, entertainment business. Classical dancers, classical musicians, they are people who are around them, who, like you have performers, support artists, makeup men, and also like you have the camera and so on. Now, particularly those accompanying artists of musicians, they've had a real trying time. And quite a few representations came to me. But where do we start? They are not yet in such a way given a recognition, some identity, some proof of patient and all that. That's why I lay a big trust on the e-Shram portal which has come. I would want everybody who belong to the informal, not so well organized sector, but that's fine, that sector need not be organized, but at least get onto the e-Shram portal. As it is, I'm happy. There are some 400 professions which have got recorded there, of which nobody had any record. We need such things to take place in the country. Otherwise, for government to make policy without data in hand, of such data, is very, very difficult.
We'll slowly take your message forward. While you've been asked this question before, that government expenditure is slow. That's largely because of pandemic impact of second wave. For those who are questioning government's ability to spend because of the higher capex count, are they underestimating Prime Minister's vision on Gati Shakti? Because that large engine, if they start working in, all the expenditure would be diverted in a very productive manner.
That's right. It's also a question of drawing the best synergy that you can. Because in India, roads have always been made. There are ports existing much before, for the last 40, 50 years. There are also manufacturing zones in different parts of the country. There are no interlinkages between them. Okay, you started a manufacturing center here, but for it to reach the port or some kind of a airport or seaport from where they can sell their products, or even closer to getting them closer to the raw material heads, or in the neighborhood having a residential place where their children can study, or even to go to the neighborhood in the nearby area, a city, commuting between the place where they are in the manufacturing zone to the city. So these kind of gaps in connectivity of different kinds. And everything is there but no internet of today. Earlier it used to be phones. So that's exactly what the PM Gati Shakti is now bringing in, a framework into which all of this can be fitted and made sure that your investment in making a, let's say, manufacturing zone is not going to be headless, tailless, connectionless. That's the benefit PM Gati Shakti will bring in, into which the national infrastructure pipeline will get into. The monetization of assets also will come into play. So if there was a public asset, why wouldn't we want to use it to build a metro in it? But building a metro there, will it help? These kind of a holistic approach to the process of making India which can meet the challenges of India at 100. And that's why planning for the Amrit Kaal. Why did I have to lay a 25-year plan? People do keep asking me this. This is why. Because what you're looking at, infrastructure is not built for today, for just for tomorrow and day after it disappears. What you build today will have to last 100 years. Wouldn't you want to plan for it? Will you want to give it due time of gestation?
You started your budget speech with that.
That's right.
What is Amrit Kaal? Because you've always said that budget, one, it is an